Hey everyone, Shabby Gamer here and welcome to a special episode of our Gibraltar Challenge. Not what we said we were going to do at the end of the last episode, but we have now had a call-up for the national side for Jim Morrison. And this episode we've got 3 matches for you for the national side, just to see how they get on. Of course, the first one, as you can see, is a friendly against Latvia. And then we've got Iceland away in the European Championship qualifiers, and then England at home in the European Championship qualifiers. It should be quicker to do because we're obviously not doing all the team talks and everything like that, so we should get through them a bit quicker. As you can see, Gibraltar are now 193rd in the world rankings, which is not very good at all. They need to really pull their finger out, and I think if I can get the job, I would do that, but evidently they don't want to give me the job. Because this guy's been in charge now for over a decade. A little bit annoying. So Jim Morrison, only problem we have with Jim Morrison is he's not 100% fit. He's just come back from an injury. I've had him playing the reserves a couple of times before this match, so he has built his match fitness up, but he's only at 79% fitness, so he might not play in this first match. But the second 2 games, he's blatantly the best defender they've got, so why not? So without further ado, let's get straight into this first game for Gibraltar at home against Latvia. And here we go. As you can see, Gibraltar are the underdogs in this one. They're only 3-1 though, so it's not a massive difference. And Latvia are 4-5. Steve Foster, our former player, is he still over at Sunderland? No, he's at Burton Albion now. He's played for York as well since then. He's at Burton Albion in wherever they are. Are they in the Championship or League One maybe? It'll take a long time to load, isn't it? Come on. League 2 he's in. So he's still doing well, still playing in England, and he is the key man for Gibraltar. I just want to see the starting lineups to see if Jim Morrison's in there. Is he in there? He is. Jim Morrison starts, as does Ashley Riley as well. Bruno Ramito has not been called up because he's currently away with Australia, which is a little bit annoying. So hopefully Australia did not give him a cap, but he has been called up. Now, we do also have Ashley Riley in our squad as well, or in their squad. Baxter didn't get called up, neither did Ives, neither did Frank Evans, which is a little bit disappointing. So yeah, that's the teams we've got there for you. We can have a quick look at the Gibraltar side, see what they've got. They've got Stuart Johnson in goal. As you can see, nowhere near as good as Bruno Ramito, so Ramito would dominate that position. Oh, is this going to take... What has happened here? There we go. They've got John Crossley at left back, who plays for Lincoln Red Imps. Again, not a very good player, is he? Why is this taking so long? Well, we don't need to go for the players, do we? Because this is going to take too long. It's just not loading properly, is it? Well, I mean, let's go. Jim Morrison's debut. Jim Morrison now has a cap for Gibraltar. He is now locked into Gibraltar for the rest of his career as well. As you can see, Gibraltar are now playing back here at the main stadium. I think when the game starts, Gibraltar actually play their home games in Portugal, I believe. But now they're actually playing their home games here in the actual stadium that we are building. So, are they white? Yeah, they are. Well, good save there by Johnson, actually. I'll give him that. And it'd be great to see what Jim Morrison can do on his debut. He's not even 100% fit and they still played him, which is fantastic. Hopefully, by the end of this season, there might be 1 or 2 more other players, and it should become more of a normal thing now. Of course, it's taken us a long time because since becoming professional, we've been 5 years or so, and Jim Morrison's one of the players we brought in the very first season, so that's why it's taken so long to finally get one in. But hopefully over the next few years we're going to be getting like 1 or 2 a season, and the national side should definitely start to improve tenfold. I haven't seen Jim Morrison's name pop up yet. Where are you, Morrison? See, I've done this before. I've been to international games, and what happens is you end up getting a bit of a drubbing in the media, because it comes up and says, "Oh, we've got no reason why he was there. We just think he might have been taking advantage of the free travel costs." I'm like, no, I went to see my good friend Jim Morrison play his first ever game for Gibraltar, even if they did concede a goal. Where is Jim Morrison? I've not seen his name pop up once yet. That's Ashley Riley. There's Jim Morrison in the middle. So it's Jim Morrison's man. No, it's not. It's Ashley Riley's man who scored the goal, actually. So we need to... It looks like we need to probably give the likes of Baxter, Frank Evans and Aidan Ives a few more games just to make sure they do get called up for the national side. Like I say, I think Gibraltar's probably going to lose all these 3 games, but still it's just nice to see Jim Morrison get his first opportunity in the national side. And he's going to end up with 3 caps as well, hopefully, as long as he stays fit. Of course, as you can see there, he's only got 66% health at the moment. And that's because he's been struggling with fitness. He's just come back from a hernia just in time to get called up for his first caps. And I think he's only 20 something or other now. How old is he? Can I click on you here? No, I can't click on you here. I think he's only about 25, 26, so he's got a good 6 or 7 years left of consistent football for Gibraltar. And like I said, I think he's going to have that place very much now just fixed. Unless another one of our centre-backs takes that position, I think he's going to be pretty much secure in that team. He's playing a 6.8, one of the better players on the pitch. And it's a shame there's not many more. Of course, but I think off the top of my head, I think Bustamante is close. And I believe Jamie Wildman is close. Anders Broger is close as well. So there could be quite a few extra Gibraltarian players for them soon. Right, there goes Jim Morrison. He has come off. Of course, he was struggling with fitness. I don't know why I haven't taken Steve Foster off yet. He's at 43%. Seems a little bit cruel on Steve Foster to leave him on. And Chris Jackson as well. And 1-0 is... It's very much like one of our games, isn't it? Latvia's had 22 shots, 6 on target, and they're only winning 1-0. Who knows? Gibraltar could sneak something here. They really could. Chris Jackson, he must have got a knock because his health's going back up now. Steve Foster, come on. Come on, Jolly, take him off. He's at 39%. No wonder we're getting players injured when they go for international duty if this is how you treat them. Oh, here comes a highlight. Go on, Gibraltar, get the equaliser. Go on, do it. Bourne plays it in. Oh, come on, that was a terrible pass. Yeah, Gibraltar, just looking at this, they definitely need some bigger and better players, and I think we are the main way of doing that for them. It's just a shame that Nick Harlton left like 5 days before he was due to become a Gibraltarian national, because they could have had 2 brand new centre-backs for these games. And there we go, second goal for Latvia. They are 2-0 up now. It's only a friendly match, it doesn't matter too much. But it would have been nice to try and get a draw or something, because they need to start getting some more points to get themselves up the FIFA rankings. That's what we want to do. We want to try and sneak them up the FIFA rankings to become a better nation. I don't know if there's any way that you can increase the hidden values, which are the youth rating for the country, because obviously at the moment the youth rating is not very high because it's a small nation. I don't know if Gibraltar go higher up the FIFA rankings, whether the players that come through the youth academies will be better, or whether if we improve our reputation as a club, whether the players that come through our youth academy are better. Because I don't think we've really been able to reach the same heights of players that we had when we got the likes of a Frank Evans and Baxter and Riley through. Well, obviously we didn't get Riley through, we brought Riley, but the players that we got through earlier in the game were the better players. Our youth system seemed to get worse and worse every year for some reason. So there it is, Jim Morrison's first ever cap for the national side. Good for him, really happy about that. Let's see how he gets on in his second game, which will be away at Iceland. We get a nice little trip to Iceland. And here we are for that away game against Iceland. As you can see, Gibraltar are currently completely bottom of the group at the moment. 6 losses from 6, minus 15 goal difference. It's a tricky group, don't get me wrong, it's a very tricky group. This is a very one-sided looking match as well. Gibraltar are 10-1 to pick some up in this one. Steve Foster still the key man. And Jim Morrison does keep his place, and he's gone for a much more defensive formation this time, the manager. But it looks like Jim Morrison does keep his place. As you can see, 1 cap now for Gibraltar. He's now gone red as well, which is fantastic to see. And if he is wanted, we will let him go now. I think if he goes to somewhere like a Sunderland, which is fine by me, then at least he'll be getting a lot more first-team football than he is at the moment with us. And he's going to continue now to be a Gibraltar player, which is fantastic. How old is he? So let's click back on him. I don't know why it's taken so long to do the load. And there we go. He's 26 years old. So that sort of says that he's going to be probably in the squad now for another, I suppose, nearly even 10 years he could hold out for if he stays with the right clubs in England. And there we go. We are underway. It's snowing in Iceland. No surprise there. It's a nice little actual graphic on the screen. We've not seen much snow at all in Gibraltar. It all seems to be very much the same weather. I suppose it would always be warm, isn't it? Because it's quite close to Spain, I believe. So it's always going to be warm. There's not necessarily going to be that much snow knocking around. But who knows what they can do here. They've got Jim Morrison now. Of course, he can't do everything on his own. Good tackle there by Ashley Riley. Roberts brings it forward and I'll tell you what, this is. I'm struggling with this a little bit. Just it's the snow on the grass is making my eyes go funny. Big ball over the top. Who's going to get there first? It's the Icelandic player, and Cook clears it well. That's Cook who used to play for us. Stuart Cook, is it? Who come for our youth academy as well. And this is why I did when we went professional, I let quite a few of our Gibraltarian national players go, because I wanted them to go to some of the other clubs in Gibraltar and continue playing for the national side, because if they stayed with us they would have rotted on the bench, and that's why I'm trying to give people like Ashley Riley and Baxter and Frank Evans and Aidan Ives, and now of course Jim Morrison, more first team football, just to try and make sure they stay in the national side, because they are good enough to be there. We don't want them, we want Gibraltar stats, don't we? There we go. So Jim Morrison's still not 100% fit yet, he's only at 68%. But still, you can't lead this guy off the pitch. He's playing the best on the pitch at the moment, 6.9. And if they could scoop a 0-0 draw here, Gibraltar, it'll get them a point in the group, which would be fantastic. But that's easier said than done. Olafsson brings it forward, and there's the goal. No! I was sure that was going to be the goal. I wonder if one of our... We've got a couple of Icelandic players now, under 21s, who would be very, very close to playing for Iceland pretty soon, because they're actually really good players, the Icelandic players we've got. Arneson. I'm looking forward to watching the third game in this episode, of course, Gibraltar taking on England at home, because I've got no idea what the England squad is looking like at the moment. We might have to try and have a sneaky look before, and Olafsson with a goal. And there we go, Iceland do take the lead in this one. They could do with Ramito in goal, couldn't they? But that's the problem at the moment. We need to try and get a point where maybe the European clubs call people up for international matches, but the other clubs don't, because at the moment, every time that Gibraltar call players up, Australia do as well. And Australia are, of course, calling up Ramito to sit on the bench as their third goalkeeper. He's not even the second choice. The second choice is Machego, and the first choice is this other Australian goalkeeper. I think he plays in Italy somewhere. So yeah, there's not a lot of chance for Ramito to get that first cap for Australia, which isn't a problem. It's just trying to call him up when he's not already in the squad. That's the main thing. I've not seen Morrison's name pop up once in these two matches yet, you know. He's still playing. Oh, he's down to a 6.8 now. 6.8, yeah. So he's still equal top. Oh, Stuart Cook's now up to a 6.9. So it's not a... I just think that once we get a few more players into Gibraltar, a few more players that can really improve that national side, then they could end up becoming a much better team for it. Because some of these other clubs they get... Oh, come on, Johnson. Ramita would have saved that easily. Yeah, there's a few players that, if they do join up with Gibraltar, would really improve that squad quite a lot. And there's a few teams that you end up against, like teams like Georgia. Georgia are a decent team, but they're nowhere near as good as some of the other teams. And I think Georgia's the sort of games where Gibraltar could pick up the odd point here and there. Unfortunately, I think this is the last games that Gibraltar have planned in at the moment. This is the end of the European qualifiers. So they'll probably get a couple of friendlies towards the end of the year. And hopefully, I think by the end of this season or beginning of next season, we should have maybe one or two more players. I'll have to do a little bit of digging, try and find. I'm sure Bustamante and Jamie Wildman are close. Eric Bernal is only about a year away as well, so he's pretty close. Jared Madison can't be too far away. So we should have, in the next couple of years, I think we should have an extra 4 or 5 players becoming Gibraltarian, as long as Jolly, of course, the international manager, calls them up. Because it took him a couple of times to call Jim Morrison up. I was starting to get a bit worried, I must admit. Riley clears it. And I've still not seen Jim Morrison's name once yet. Come on, guys. Where's Jim Morrison? He's gone off. No, he's still on. He's now playing a 5.9. He's the worst player on the pitch. Oh, God. I suppose, in fairness to Jim Morrison, he has literally just come back from injury. So he's not at 100% at the moment. And I'm sure he'll get better and better as time goes on. And obviously now that we know he's called up for the national side and he's going to be locked in there now, I shouldn't imagine he's going to get dropped at all now for the international side because of how good of a player he is compared to the rest of the players they've got. I think we should probably try and give him a bit more first team football, try and give him as many league games as we can, just to keep his fitness up and just to keep his his stats up as well. Because of course, when you drop players, they don't tend to drop stats a bit because they're not used to playing first team football. They're not quite as sharp as what they were. There's Morrison. There's Morrison. Big ball out. There we go. It's a good actual pass actually to Bourne. And that's the one thing that Gibraltar are struggling with is strikers. They haven't seemed to got anyone who's scored a lot of goals. That's the main problem they've got. And if Bustamante comes into the international side, then he is a man who potentially, if given the opportunities, can put the ball in the back of net. We've seen that for ourselves. We saw that only last episode, Bustamante walloping a ball in the top of the net. This James seems like a pretty decent player as well. Is he one of the defensive midfielders? Or is he one of the centre-backs, maybe? It's just a little bit of a shame that the likes of Baxter and Frank... I don't know why he didn't call Frank Evans up. Frank Evans, the international captain as well. There's a third goal for Arneson. Well, not his third goal, but a third goal for Iceland. And yeah, there seems to be still a bit of work to be done. There's still quite a bit of work that needs to be done, I think, in this national side. And I think over the next 2 or 3 years, we're really going to see a lot of progression and a lot more improvements, a lot more new players as well. And I don't think we won't watch much more of the internationals unless we've got a new player being called up. Then we might give it a bit of a watch, or if there's a big game coming up for the international side. Or of course, if we get the international job, then it will become more of a permanent thing where we will watch the matches. Because obviously it's important if we get the job. But I'm not overly bold about getting the job for at least another 2 or 3 seasons, just when we've got a few more of our players that can improve the national side. Because at the moment we're ranked at 193rd in the world, and that's just not good enough. We want to be under the 100 mark, is sort of like the lowest sort of target I would set. I want to get under 100. It would take a while to get a good few victories to do that. I think a clever thing to do for Gibraltar would be just to book a load of really easy friendly matches against some stupid sides. Like, let's go and play some friendly matches against St. Kitts and Nevis and people like that. Sort of nations that are known for not being very strong, really. And that's how you start to build your rankings up a bit, I think. And that's why America are always so high in the rankings, because they end up playing a lot of the Caribbean teams over and over again. And because they're so easy games, they end up building up a lot of FIFA points. But I know you do get more FIFA points for winning matches in actual competitions like this. Again, that's one of the reasons why America are so high in the rankings, is because whenever they do qualifiers for World Cups and stuff like that, they've got such easy teams they're playing against. They're picking up so many points. So that is the end of this match. Of course, they lost 4-0 away at Iceland. And I think the worst is still to come as Gibraltar take on England. But first, let's have a quick look at the England squad and see who they've got. So here we go. Here is the England squad. And this is the team they've just used to play against Denmark at the same time that Gibraltar lost to Iceland. Now, the most expensive player they've got 3 really expensive players, and they're all from Man United. How is he English? But let's go through the squad then. So in goal they've got Ashley Sutton, or Anthony Sutton should I say, who's actually quite a good player, isn't he? It's only his 4th cap. Plays for Newcastle United. Right back they've got Byrne Jarvis. Never heard of him. He's generated. He plays for Southampton. Good right back actually. Centre backs, we've got Clive O'Reilly, who plays for Bournemouth. Tell you what, there's quite a big mix of clubs, isn't there? One of the players is from Colchester. There's quite a bit of mix of clubs, isn't there? So Clive O'Reilly, who's not actually that much better than some of the players we've got, is he really? In all fairness to him. Alongside him, of course, 2 players we do know of, or quite a few players we know of actually. John Stones at centre back, who is a very good looking player actually. 33 years old. Why don't we buy him? No, let's not even bother. Luke Shaw, a left back, 32-year-old. Again, still looking like a very, very complete player. Reece Oxford, who now plays for Liverpool, playing defensive midfield. Look at their mental attributes. They're fantastic. He's only 28 years old as well. Ryan Gosling, I've heard of. Is he from Everton, was he? No, he wasn't. Straight from Arsenal. I think I'm getting confused with somebody else then. No, he's a fake one. I'm thinking of a different Gosling then. Wow, what a player he is as well. 26-year-old. Good player. Callum Gribbin, he's definitely a real one from Man United, because I know about him, because when I played my Man United games in the past, he's always been a good under-18. Look at them stats. Wow. Wow. Spent his entire career at Man United. Had a couple of loan spells. One away at Bournemouth, one away at Derby, one away at Cambridge. And he's just done so well. He's only ever finished below a 7. average rate in 2 seasons, but now he's just playing like that. He's really just hit the ground running the last few seasons. Raheem Sterling. Less said about him the better. Oh, bloody hell, he's got good stats though, hasn't he? Really good stats. Stuck at Man City's entire career. Well, apart from there was a Liverpool part, but on the game he's stuck at Man City the whole time. Bobby Castellano, however you pronounce that. Wow. Another really good player there for Man United and for England. Really good actual player. Let's have a look at him. He started his career at Arsenal. Man United brought him from Arsenal for £22 million. He'd never really played much for Arsenal at all. Man United brought him, stuck him straight in the first team, and he's done incredibly well for him. And up front they have Bailey Thompson, a player I've seen a few times before, because I'm a Man United fan. I always drift over and have a quick look, and this lad has been fantastic. He came through their academy, I believe, in the first couple of seasons. Yeah, he did. And he's been incredible for them. Look at them, 19 goals last season return. 18, 19, 20 goals. He's had a really good goal return, Bailey Thompson. He's a good looking player. Anyone have any note on the bench? Nigel Skelton's worth £16.5 million. Decent player from Norwich. Gabriel Hurst from Arsenal. Decent-ish player. Worth a lot of money. Dominic Tierney. A attacking midfielder from Southampton. Again, a very good player. I think Gibraltar are going to be in some trouble against England, I must admit. But yeah, enough of me blabbing on. Let's get into that game at home to England and see how Gibraltar get on. And here we are for that game against England. And still, Gibraltar are not massive underdogs in this one. They are 7-1 to win it. But I'm 100% sure that England are going to win this one quite convincingly. Jim Morrison does keep his position at centre-back. So that means he's got 3 caps now from the 3 matches he's been available, which is good to see. And I'm just interested to see the England team now as well. Seeing a few of these Man United players we've not seen before, like Bailey Thompson, Castagno, whatever his name was. Although the first highlight is a Gibraltar one. Wouldn't it be amazing if Jim Morrison got a goal against England? Because his name was there. Here's Castagno to McIntosh. Good save, and Castagno is bouncing around still. Cook does clear it. And 2 minutes into the game, England could have been ahead already. Cook out to Jarvis, out to Sterling. So Gibraltar's actually dominated possession for the first 5 minutes, shall I say. And another highlight, 8 minutes into the game, Halliday with a big ball forward. It's come to Carter. Heads it back to Naylor, who's in a bit of space. Back to Carter. And Gibraltar looking up for it here today. Riley's big ball forward has been cut out by John Stones, though Jackson was nearly in. And Powell plays it forward to Bailey Thompson, the Man United player. Absolute player and a half. Man United. Oh, God, come on. Come on. No way was anyone going to save that, were they? Bailey Thompson. I was just saying about how good he was for Manchester United, and there he is. From about 40 yards. Saw there was no one ahead of him, so he decided just to go for it. And just puts it straight in that bottom corner. What a player. What a player. Who knows, one of these days we could have a player like that. Switch to the Gibraltar stats, what we want to see. So Ashley Riley and Jim Morrison both picked up all 3 of the games in this little international break. However, I'm a little bit disappointed why the rest of the players haven't been called up. The likes of Frank Evans and Baxter and Ives. Ives has not really got much football at all, so we might have to give him a bit more. But he's more of an attacking player as well. But Frank Evans is what I'm disappointed about. The man's got 82 caps for his country. How can you just drop him like that? He's actually been playing. He's actually played more games for us at the moment than what he has been in the past as well. He's got about 3 or 4 appearances so far this season. Jarvis now cuts in, takes a shot. Halliday saves it. It's come back to Jarvis. And another shot by Halliday. Another save by Halliday, I should say. Another shot by Jarvis, but it has gone out off the post. "25 minutes in. Gibraltar pretty much under the cosh at the moment. And Bailey Thompson scores a second. Bailey Thompson's on an international hat-trick now as well. After 25 minutes, knocked in 2 goals. I tell you what, this England team is looking pretty damn good, actually. I don't know what they've done in the past in the actual competitions. I've never even paid that much attention, to tell the truth, but they've got some really good players. I know they're only playing against Gibraltar, don't get me wrong, but still, they've got some really good players. And hopefully, in 20 years' time, we can be this good. Because I think I'll still continue playing this, and probably until about Christmas time, even though FM 17 would have been out. I think I'll leave it until about Christmas time. Allow people to make the database for Gibraltar and stuff like that, and then we'll get into it. Then I think Jarvis into McIntosh. Thompson's on a hat trick. Riley keeps it in. He probably should let that go, Riley, really, but he's ploughed a big ball forward looking for a counter attack. Carter heads it on, but it only goes as far as a Stones, who plays it back forward to Hurst. To Castagno. There's Thompson now on a hat trick, but he plays it to Sterling. Back to Thompson. Oh, God, that was so quick I didn't even see it. Oh, that was a great tackle by Crossley. So Jim Morrison joined up with Gibraltar because he said that he didn't think he'd ever get the chance to represent England, which is true. And that's the sort of players we are looking for. We're looking for those players that are of a good quality, but not good enough to play for their national side. So that's why I spent a lot of time in the summer bringing in some really good young Spanish players. Players that are never going to really play for Spain, but players that could end up playing for us in the next few years. And that's the thing we're looking for, really. Of course, it does take 5 seasons, though, to get that nationality. So it's pretty much a long game. And you've got to keep hold of the players for 5 years as well. Some players want to leave by then. Although I think we've got a good bunch this year. And it's going to be a foul there by Hurst. And Gibraltar do get a chance to get the ball out with the free kick. Look at that, 30 shots, 9 on target for England. 30 shots. Halliday's big ball forward. Naylor's there. It's been taken by Shaw and Taylor. McIntosh on the ball now, plays it into Hurst. Hurst, big ball over the top to Bailey Thompson, who's on a hat-trick, but plays a nice little ball out to McIntosh. Takes a shot, and Halliday, come on. Let's call him Bruno Ramito. That's what we need. Ramito needs to be in this national side. Ramito needs to be in this national side. He is a player of such quality that he needs to be. And we've also got Matteo Leguin as well, the young French player. He's only got about another 2 years, the goalkeeper, before he joins up with the national side. It's taken him a lot longer because you only start gaining eligibility once you're over the age of 18. And we signed Leguin when he was 16. So he counts as a homegrown player in the Champions League for us, which is fantastic. But at the same time, he's still got another couple of years before he can gain Gibraltarian nationality. I'll tell you what, it's not too bad for Gibraltar, considering how much they've been hammered here by England with 35 shots. And to only be losing 3-0 after 70 minutes is not bad at all. And Jim Morrison, again, is struggling. I feel like now he's been the worst player on the pitch for most of the games, based on the ratings. But hopefully he can turn that around. Hopefully it's just because he's come back from injury and he's not 100% back fit yet. Getting used to playing with these new players. Well, Bailey Thompson does get his hat-trick. Hat-trick hero Bailey Thompson. The Man United player. I tell you what, he's been at the forefront for Man United now for a few years because I think they actually won the Champions League 2 years in a row and he was the main man in that. As was Callum Gribbin. We haven't seen anything of Callum Gribbin over the last in this game. He wasn't obviously playing. Is he one of the players they might have brought off the bench? So Ashley Riley's now the captain for Gibraltar in this one. And I don't know whether the defence is just... Well, saying that, Stuart Cook's playing a 6.5, so I don't know whether the defence are just not showing his playing very good because they've conceded 4 goals. That might just be the only reason why. But either way, it's been pretty good to see Jim Morrison get his first 3 caps for the national side. I don't know whether he regrets joining up now, but it means he can represent a country, which is good for him. And within sort of 2 or 3 years, he's going to have a lot of help there. And hopefully they can start to pull off the odd victory or even a draw here and there to start to build up their national rankings and get themselves up those FIFA rankings. Get away from that 190 or get away from the 200 to get closer to the 100. That's what we want to see. Shaw forward to Tierney. This looks like it could be very close to the end. Kirk's ball over the top. Is there another opportunity for England to get another one? Shaw's ball in to McIntosh. It has gone out for a corner. And the referee's not allowed to take the corner. It is a 4-0 victory for England over Gibraltar. And I believe that is the last match of the qualifiers. It is the last match of the qualifiers. So that's it now for the European Championship qualifiers. England have finished top of the group, Denmark in second. So I'm going to assume that means that England qualify and Denmark go into the playoffs. I'm not 100% sure how that works. But yeah, Gibraltar haven't done too badly. There's still a lot of work to be done. They've got any more fixtures? They've got no more fixtures planned in as yet, but if anything else does pop up and we do have some other players joining up with the national side, we'll definitely have a look. As you can see, they've not done very well at all, have they? Why is this so crushed in all the time? I don't understand why that's happened like that for. There we go. So yeah, if there's anything else that pops up, we will come back and watch a bit more of the national side. And yeah, I think that's about all. Of course, as I said in the last episode, our next episode is going to be Britannia at home and then Bayern Munich at home in the Champions League. So be sure to keep an eye out for that one. Of course, as always, if you have enjoyed this episode, then please do hit the like button. Please hit the like button for Jim Morrison finally getting his first caps for Gibraltar. It's been a long road for him. He's been in the country for 5 years now, and he can finally now hold his head up high around the country of Gibraltar, saying that he is one of the men that represents his country. And of course, if you are new around here, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well for a lot more Football Manager. I've been Shabby Gamer, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.